So Lloyd has a question. How do you create opportunities for social interaction, learning through peer socialization for students at the primary school level, middle school level, and upper school?
Right, it's a really, really good question. And obviously, nobody is trying to pretend that online learning is the universal solution. I think one of the questions that's been asked by many people, you know, lots of heads are writing think pieces and so on all sorts of social media about, does this mark the end of schools? Are we going to see a transformation towards an online learning community that will replace traditional bricks and mortar schools? And I think we all know the answer to that question is no. There will remain schools. I think what we will take from this experience is there is a lot of the first level of education, which is getting knowledge embedded, memory testing, you know, getting long-term memory shaped. But we know full well the social interactionist theories and also the other purposes of school, which is about socialization, about community building, about character building, and so on. That sort of stuff is remains very, very important, and will happen within bricks and mortar schools into the long-term future. But for me, what we have been able to do is to use some of the online features to have small group discussion.
I forgot I have another online.
To make sure we do get some connectivity between students. I think Diane would maybe be able to share her own son's experience, but you know, a lot of these kids are working with 3 machines in front of them. They've got the computer where they're doing the online work. They've got a laptop maybe where they're looking at some research material, and they've also got their WeChat going as well, where they're talking to their fellow classmates about issues that are going along. They may have another one which has actually got a games console as well, but we won't talk about that. That's another issue altogether. So what they're doing is they're using their very high levels of proficiency in terms of social media to do the connectivity alongside the learning process. And most of these good formats have got discussion rooms. So we use Pao School Learning, which has the discussion forum. And one of the basic learning strategies that you use is to teach a little bit and then ask the students to make a contribution in response to that onto the discussion forum. And you can see whether or not the student is writing and responding that way. So there's a direct relationship. It may not always be face-to-face verbally, but it's certainly in written form using the discussion forum format. And you probably know on Zoom, you can create subgroups. So if we're discussing a novel, for example, and there's a bit of formal teaching with some then response, you can then break down into 2s and 3s, discuss 2 or 3 questions, and then feed back to the group about what that discussion has found. And actually, in some ways, the management of those structures is a lot easier using an online forum than it is in a classroom situation, because you just simply manage it and using the technology. So a lot of these things can be developed, but I don't think any of us are suggesting they are going to replace the impact of a face-to-face classroom experience.